All right, go live. All right, it says we're live. So I need to know if you guys can hear me. And is it choppy or is it sort of clear? I would appreciate to know. Anyway, welcome from the crossroads of America to a 1 hour talk show, Shooting with Disabilities on Wednesday nights. But we also talk guns, politics, or anything else that crosses our minds. We'll answer questions from the audience. Just put them either in the chat or by email at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I have a Patreon page, PayPal, all that stuff is in the info section below. So, Southpaw says I sound good and clear. Okay, great. All right. Let's see I think if I'm correct, Kingpin was the first in the room tonight, then Jerry Parker, Gun Loving Grandpa, then Echo Reloading Chamber, AR Guns, 1776 so far. Guns and Barbecue, Southpaw. So there are people starting to drift in. Let me introduce my panel while we're waiting for more people to show up. Up here in my left-hand corner, I've got the New York Outcast. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yep. Then I got the one and only Jason Stewart.
Good to see you, Rick. Thanks for the invite. Good to see everybody. Hello.
All right. Then we got Guns and Barbecue.
Howdy.
All right. Then we got the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Patriot in the Dark. There he is.
Hey, I found the mute button. I got a mute button today, so good evening.
Okay. Then we got Will and Well Armed.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
Yeah. And we got the Kingpin.
Yo.
Okay, great. So we've got a good panel going here. Now, if you guys, any of you, I know you got one, Jason, but has anybody else got a topic they want to talk about that they've been thinking about? If not, we'll go straight on to Jason's topic. Well, sounds like you're up, Jason.
All right. We were just talking about this weekend. I'm getting ready to take my concealed carry class. And just today, our sheriff announced that he's no longer accepting applications till further notice because they're updating their system or whatever. And the next biggest county closest, easiest to me said, don't come here because they have a big backlog. But we were fortunate enough, a few counties away, the sheriff went on the local news and said, come on down. No appointment necessary. Bring your paperwork, walk right on in, and he'll get you going, and he'll get it back to you in 6 days.
Sounds good.
They do have the law. It says that the sheriff is supposed to give you a yes or a no within 45 days. But they were listing, there's counties in this state that's on 3 and 4 month backlogs. So I don't know how they can be on a 3-4 month backlog when the law says you have 45 days. But being what it is, this sheriff down here said he totally supports the Second Amendment, and he's done everything he can to streamline the process of getting your carry permit. And he said that every citizen that's legally able to buy a gun should have a concealed carry permit in this state.
I agree.
So
really, if you got to have one, I don't think you should have one. But in Tennessee, what you call it?
I'm in Ohio. So
that's right. Why am I thinking Tennessee? I always think of you in Tennessee. I don't know why. I got that in my brain, you know?
It's a beautiful place. Maybe I should move there.
I think you should. Very gun friendly.
But we were really close last year to concealed carry. Or constitutional carry, I mean. It was all the way down. It was not just the 11th hour. It was like the 11th hour and 50 minutes. everybody was on board. It was going through. And then there was that nightclub shooting in Dayton where the guy used an AR pistol and shot his sister and a bunch of people, and it effectively ended it. It's done. No more constitutional carry even mentioned. Well, this week they reintroduced a new version of constitutional carry here. What they did is they're sliding it in on our already existing gun laws. They're just basically saying anyone over 21 years of age does not need a permit to concealed carry in this state.
That works.
And currently our concealed carry is only for handgun. It's a handgun license. And they're wanting to change that to called concealed carry weapon. So you're covered to carry whatever it is that you want. That just got submitted the other day, and there's support for it. So I liked one of our people here said there are good people, there are law-abiding people, and there are criminals, and a permit doesn't change that.
No. All right, but before we go back on to, I wanted to ask everybody else in the chat here, is there any troubles in your county or state for getting concealed carry permits? Well, we know New York, there's always trouble. But they're available. They're just hard to come by. Is that right, New York Outcast?
Yeah, there's definitely a process. And last I heard, there was a delay in the process. So my local county was shut down for a while due to COVID because apparently, I guess somebody there got it or something, and they were shut down preventative. I'm not sure exactly, but they were shut down a while, and there was, backlog. Even to purchase a new gun, you have to get it put in, like take it to the sheriff's, a handgun, and get it cleared and added to your permit to pick it up from the store. So there was lots of purchase, not just new people applying, but also, everybody else that was buying guns as well coming in trying to make appointments. So,
that's right. Because in New York, you got to have a permit for every gun, right?
Yeah, in my county, you do. Or not, it has to be added to your permit. They literally put the serial number, make, model on the back of your permit.
Jesus.
And then give you an attachment sheet to go with it. So if you get caught with a handgun that isn't on that, you're in trouble. You're a felon.
Yeah. I tell you, New York doesn't make it easy to follow your Second Amendment rights, does it?
No, not at all. Not easy or cheap, but thankfully, in some cases, there's a little. It's weird how some things seem cooler here than other places. In general, other places got a much better deal, but there is some strange, things even I find strange in freer places. It's weird how the laws are done.
Yeah. All right, guns and barbecue. Any holdups and stuff on permits and stuff in your area?
First, I want to ask Jason, the county sheriff that said, "Hey, come on down here. No appointments, nothing like that." What county is that? That way, anybody else in Ohio that might be listening knows.
It is called Pickaway County.
Alrighty.
Pickaway. Just like if you saw the show, the American Pickers were here. They were like, "This is the place for us." Pickaway County. It's Pickaway, Pickaway County.
So, and then here in PA, actually, we just had a thing in the local paper a week or two ago, talking about how you're going to be able to do your concealed carry application online now, which you still have to go in, you still have to get the photograph done in person, you still have to sign for it in person. So what this is actually streamlining, I'm not really sure, because you could just get online and print off the application and fill everything out at home and take it there, and you're in and out 10, 15 minutes, depending on how many people are there at the time. So the only thing I can think of is, like, perhaps they are letting you fill out everything online and then they'll send you notifications saying when it's been approved or something, and perhaps then you can go in, photograph your signature done, and then they just put it off there. I don't know, but because, well, heck, Rob's even talked about when he drives 3 hours into PA to get his out of state, he actually picks out with his concealed carry in his hand right then. I go into my local sheriff's office and hand them everything, my money and all that. They take my photo, and I've still got to wait 7 days for it to come in the mail. So
you're a second-class citizen compared to somebody from out of state.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They trust those New Yorkers more than us.
Yeah. All right. How about you guys up there in Michigan, Patriot? Any holdups for the? I know because you've got that dictator for a governor. She caused any issues?
They've got a couple of things that are they're not going to be voted, I don't think. But there's like if there's an emergency that they can't stop it. I think it's something 11, Senate Bill 11. It's about you can't restrict or stop giving permits and stuff during an emergency. That 430 and 498, I think, is the about the reducing the fees from whatever 130 or 115 down to 45 or 65. Don't quote me on that. I can get the info and send it to you, but
I was just curious.
I know, but it's not like they're going to pass. Not with Squibb's governor.
Yeah.
I say Moo's governor. I think it's more Moo's governor than other side of the state.
Not going to pass with the half-assed legislature we've got.
Yeah.
But right now, if you wanted to get a concealed carry permit or whatever you guys call them in Michigan, can you go get one, or is there anything stopping you?
I don't think there's anything stopping, as long as you have the.
I mean, they're not saying they can't do it because of COVID or something like that.
I haven't heard anything.
Okay, I was just curious.
What they did during COVID is they said you can't have the classroom where they're all together like that. They were limited how many people, or you had to have everybody social distance. And they were doing all the things that they were doing at the restaurants or at the grocery stores or in the schools or what have you. I think some people managed to find ways to work within the restrictions and still hold the classes. But for the most part, it was on hold like everything else. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all.
All right. What about you guys down there in Georgia?
Well, one thing is, I believe this to be true. You can't go across county lines. So if you are a resident of one county, that's the county where you have to get your concealed carry permit. Not that the laws are different across the counties. It's just, they want to keep control of it all.
I think it's the same way here.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be able to go over to, but you can do it for driver's licenses. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what somebody told me. So, and then it's pretty quick. I'm right now going through the process of renewal. So mine's up in August 21st or something like that. And so I called up. I said, do I need an appointment? And they said, no. I said, how long a wait is it? And they said, it's about a 15 to 30 minute wait. And then I said, well, since it's a renewal, do I need to get my fingerprints redone? And she said, it depends. And I said, depends on what? And she goes, well, we do an initial background check, and then they decide whether they need fingerprints or not. So I'm not sure about that or not. So don't take me for gospel. And then because it just sounded like she didn't know. But in DeKalb County, the place where you get your fingerprints is the police station the county police, and it's not accessible. So you have to go around to the back door where the loading ramp is, go up that ramp, and then you have to wait for somebody to come off shift, and that opens the back door to get in, to get to the elevators to go to the basement. So it's pretty difficult. So, you might not catch a shift and sit out there for an hour because that intercom system just doesn't work. I mean, they got an intercom, and you press it, and nobody answers. So it's definitely pretty messed up.
That does sound messed up.
Yeah.
What? Oh, the Kingpin. Does Maryland have concealed carry permits or not?
Yeah, it's not. It's against the law. It's against federal law to not offer either open carry or concealed carry. So I think it was 2013. They tried to ban all carry, and obviously they couldn't get away with it. So they went to the shall issue. No, it's may issue. They went to the may issue concealed carry. Open carry is banned unless you have a job. You can open carry rifle, but open carry pistol, you have to be a security guard or a cop or something like that with a special permit. The concealed carry permit, I mean, I caught 3 or 4 unicorns before, so I might one day get a Maryland concealed carry permit.
Okay. All right.
But Kingpin, you are a collector, right?
Yes, sir.
So that kind of at least lets you carry it around in your car. Is that right?
Yeah, what collector status does is in Maryland you can only buy a handgun every 30 days. And you guys are familiar with that from other states. If you get what's called collector status, then that means you can buy one every 8 days. It's only an 8-day waiting period, which is really only 7 because you can pick it up the 7th day, really. I mean, if you look at the numbers. But if you don't have collector status, only place you can carry your gun, and it's still got to be locked up and different stuff like that. You guys all know the routine with that. Is to the gun store or a gunsmith or to the range. That's it. Like you can't put it in your car and drive around all day for work, and I'm going to go to the range after work. Technically you'd have to go all the way back home, get your gun, and then go to the range when you got off work. What collector status allows you to do is it allows you to pretty much carry your guns around with you anywhere, because you can always say you're going to go do a display, or you're going to go sell it, or you're going to go, here with it or here with it. That's a part of your collector status.
I never heard of that before. That's a little sneaky way around it, I guess.
Well, one of the things, if you guys end up in crazy states or whatever, you have to have your first gun first. You have to purchase and take possession of your first handgun before you can apply for collector status. I've known people that have, while they're waiting for their background check or while they were waiting with their HQL, applied for it and they got denied. I don't know anybody that's been denied after they've already become a gun owner. So, MK Joe is probably the only one, and he doesn't need to worry about that. But anyone else that might talk to someone in Maryland, or if you guys might end up in a crappy state, you have to be on the record as a handgun owner in that state before you can apply for collector status. And all you got to do is just write a letter to the licensing bureau explaining why you want it. And for the most part, I think they pretty much give it to everybody as long as you own a gun first.
Okay. All right. I guess if I lived there, that's what I would do too.
And do you have to pay for this collector status?
Only thing you have to pay for is the paper, the envelope, and the stamp that you use to write the letter to the licensing bureau.
And do you get a card, or what makes you official?
No, what you do is when you get the HQL, the little card that they give you to apply to buy a handgun, the handgun application card. Pardon me, sorry about that. You have to go to the Maryland State Police website every time to fill out a request, and they'll give you PIN numbers and all that, like I mentioned in my last video. And on that website, there's going to be a spot that's going to say collector, non-collector. And once you've been recognized as collector status, they automatically check that box for you. So you don't have to you can't accidentally forget to collect. Oh, I'm a collector. I forgot to hit that. It's automatically checked every time you fill out an application.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I guess it's. I don't know why I'm complaining. I lived in a tough state too, but now that I'm not, it's weird now. So,
what was the original question, Rick?
it was about, because it started with Jason having his sheriff. He's taking his CCW course this weekend, and his sheriff today announced that they're not giving out anymore because he's updating the system or some shit. So I was asking, what's it like in your state right now? Is there issues?
So just reschedule the class until their system's back up or whatever.
Well, he can go to a different county and get his.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Yeah, we just found that out too, but he was just letting us know what was going on. But yeah, in his state, they can go to different counties to get it. So, and I think you've already answered some of the questions along with Patriot when we're talking about CCWs or whatever you call them in your state. But here in Indiana, as of this year, we almost had constitutional carry, but it got stopped in the committee because it went to committee at the Senate, and it died there. It didn't make it onto the floor. So, which was a shame because the Senate of Indiana state government is Republican controlled. So that means the chair, that means the committee has more Republicans than it does Democrats on it, so it should have passed. But it's come out that the Republican chair said she wasn't even going to entertain it. So we need to get rid of her in the next vote round. So, but anyway, our permit is free now as of this year. All you got to pay for is your fingerprints. And the reason for that is it's subcontracted out to a third party. Like the one I went to get mine was actually inside a it was a medical office of some sort. I think where they draw blood or something. You had to go. They had, for some reason, they done fingerprints. You done it by appointment. You walk in there, say, I'm here for fingerprints, and they take you off and you do your fingerprints, and it gets automatically sent to the sheriff's department and charge you $15 for doing that. But originally it cost $30, I believe, originally when I got mine. Because I only got the 4-year one, because we have two types here. We have the 4-year one and we have the life one. I didn't get the one for life because when I moved here, I wasn't 100% certain that I was going to stay here. And if I didn't like it, if it was that bad, I was going to move on to another state. I don't know how I was going to do it, but I figured I'd go to Florida, be down near where my kids are, if nothing worked out here, but it's worked out. So I'm staying. So the next time, good. But the life ones do cost you money though. The 4-year one's free. So I don't know. I might just stick with the 4-year one since it's free. Yeah.
So I don't think you should have to have a permit to open or conceal carry. However, each state is different. But in the states where they've made the permit free, I mean, it's kind of virtue signaling, or that's absolutely pointless. If you're going to do that, you might as well just get rid of the permit system altogether. I mean, I'm not saying that there should be permits for everything. We should have to pay all kinds of fees, but that's part of the whole permit thing. So if you're going to get rid of the fee, you might as well just get rid of the reason to have the permit.
I agree with you.
It's just a bunch of BS to placate the voters that are just going to go, oh, yeah, we won. No, you didn't win. You still have to ask for permission. I mean, and you might go, well, yeah, but at least we don't have to pay for it. Yeah, do you realize, they're pacifying you?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. Georgia's open carry, so you can carry open carry without any license, any permit. But when you get the concealed carry, you don't, when you fill out the 4473, it doesn't go anywhere. It automatically, the NICS report's already done. So I kind of like where we are, and really don't want to go, constitutional carry.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean, here in Indiana, if you have the carry permit, you can carry concealed or open here in Indiana. So,
well, obviously you could carry open if you wanted to, but
yeah, well, here you can't. I mean, if you don't have the pistol permit, you can't carry open here in Indiana.
okay.
You have to have the permit to carry open or concealed. You can't carry either way without a permit. So.
Okay, Will, why do you say you don't want constitutional carry again?
Well, I mean, if we didn't have a permit system, then you would have to go through the NICS background check every time. And I believe they're, keeping that information there. I believe they're building a file there.
You still fill out a 4473.
Yeah, but that stays, it's a paper copy and it stays in the local gun store.
Okay, so you believe because you pass a NICS check that... Okay, two things. One, there's a 4473. NICS check or not, all right, when they call in, they don't give how many guns you're buying. They don't give the serial numbers.
They don't call in. In Georgia, they don't call in at all.
Once you've got the concealed carry permit, that automatic you just fill out the
listen to me. When you have a NICS check, they call it in and they give the information. They get a proceed, a deny, or delay. You do the NICS check in some of the states where you have a concealed carry permit, whatever it is. But you still fill out a 4473. And that is the piece of paperwork that has your name and all your information, the serial number of the guns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sure, it's kept in that store, but if you really think that the HEF doesn't have access to that, you're fooling yourself. I'm not saying that they have instant access. I'm saying they can get a hold of it if they want it. All right? And if you're worried about a background check, which is an infringement, but if you're worried about it, that kind of plays into the anti-gunners argument that we have something to hide. I'm not saying that we should have to take these. They don't do anything. They don't do a damn thing. Now, if your state gets constitutional carry and you choose to continue to have a concealed carry permit in your state, because when a state gets constitutional carry, concealed carry permits don't go away. You can still get them. Then that will work your way around getting that NICS check. You're still paying for the permit you're already paying for, and you can work your way around the NICS check. Meanwhile, everybody else who doesn't give a shit because it doesn't do anything still gets constitutional carry. So why would you not want constitutional carry?
Well, we already have open carry, so the only thing that constitutional carry here would be they would get rid of the licensing altogether. So then, by default, everybody would have to go through the NICS.
No.
I've seen the states that have got constitutional carry where they've still had that permit that you could get.
Well, they
have open carry before. That's the question.
With the states that pass constitutional carry, they keep their concealed carry permit licensing for reciprocity reasons.
Yes, and
that's the main reason that they don't get rid of the concealed carry permit altogether.
Yes, and for some people, it's a status symbol. But the thing about that is, I've heard people say that in my state, that the only reason they got their concealed carry permit was so that they didn't have to take the NICS check. And the reason they didn't want to is because they wanted to get their gun as fast as possible. They didn't want to wait the 5 minutes for them to fill out the form and to do the phone call. They didn't want to. That's seriously the only reason they paid for this. They conceal carry, they open carry, they don't carry it all. They don't care. None of that's it's simply so that they can get their gun faster. They don't want to wait in line. I guess it's like, okay, sure, I guess. I don't understand what the big deal is about the wait. A 3-day wait? No. But when you're in the store, the longest I've ever had to wait for a NICS check was 35 minutes, and that's because I couldn't get phone reception in the building. I mean, I just don't. I don't get it, but once again, it's a free country. If that's what you want to do, you want to go to the trouble to get a concealed carry permit strictly so that you don't have to wait. That's your money. Do what you want. But it's not protecting you from not ending up on some government list. It's not protecting you from not being traced by the ATF if they want to. That is not what it does at all.
And the other thing with that constitutional carry, you keep saying the open carry part there in Georgia. With constitutional carry, you can carry concealed as well without having to have a license. So, some people don't like open carry.
Constitutional carry opens up the doors for a lot of freedom for a lot of people. The way the Second Amendment was written, the way it's supposed to be interpreted, constitutional carry should be a thing coast to coast, period. I don't agree with the NICS check, but it's here until we get rid of it. I don't agree with the 4473, but it's here until we get rid of it. I don't agree with the NFA, but it was here before our grandparents were born until we get rid of it. I don't agree with a lot of things, but there are a lot of things out there that have been around since before somebody decided, hey, I want to get into guns, and they act like this is a new thing, and it's just like, look, the people that want to talk about, man, they're going to kick in your door and do this and do that. There aren't enough of them to get all of us at once. If they're going to do it systematically, there's going to be plenty of warning. You just don't want to be that first, person but it's logistically impossible. But that doesn't mean from time to time there aren't mistakes. That doesn't mean from time to time things like those stupid red flag laws. That's the thing we should be the most worried about. Are their reasoning for doing the whole kick in the door thing. It doesn't mean it, but there are plenty of people that are also irresponsible that draw attention to themselves. And that to me is more than something that somebody should worry about more than some stupid piece of government paperwork that none of us agree with, but we've always done and we probably will till the day we die, unfortunately.
Yeah, the thought of getting rid of the 4473 shouldn't even be a conversation that we have, because that's never going to happen. Never, ever. Because you don't have an argument. None of us have an argument for John Q. Public, the voter, to convince them without some type of background check how you're going to keep bad people from getting guns.
Does background check work?
Doesn't matter. Rick. You have to stop thinking like a smart person for a second. You have to start thinking like the populace. You understand the intricacies of the firearm world. Your next door neighbor who doesn't care about guns, never seen a gun before in his life, never heard a gun go off. All he's sitting there thinking about is, well, if there's no background check, how do you keep bad people from getting guns? And you saying, look, stop. You saying background checks don't work is not going to convince them.
I didn't say don't. I said do. According to the news today, they claim that the background checks work. They stopped 300,000 people last year.
Right, 300,000 last year. Yeah. ABC News.
Well, then how do you convince American public voter that those 300,000 people should have just been able to buy a gun because the background check is bad? We should stop. That's a waste of our breath having this conversation about the background check. It's never going away, ever.
I know it's not. I know it's not. But go on.
I think I get what Kingpin where he's going. Use our resources effectively instead of wasting our resources. Let's go after the things that we can take care of reasonably. And then let's use that as a stepping stone to move on to the next thing and the next thing. And that's why I always say, let's do the NFA last. People are like, no, we got to do it first. No, that's the absolute least important thing. But my toy. No, fuck your toy. All right. If we don't make this stuff mainstream, you're never going to have your toy without a permit. Okay. So quit thinking about the fact that you can't hit the broadside of a barn and you think if you have a full auto, that'll make up for it. Okay. It's like having a motorcycle with loud pipes because you got a little dick. Okay. Think about the fact that if we can get this stuff more mainstream and we can show the good guy with the gun stops the bad guy with the gun and all the other things we talk about, then those sorts of things will be a lot easier to deal with at a later point. Doing something like getting national reciprocity, national constitutional carry, taking one thing at a time off the NFA, using this pistol brace thing as a reason to get short barrel rifles off the NFA, and then we go after suppressors next and next. We do it like that, and one day we could get rid of the 4473, but more than likely it'll be our grandkids doing it, not us. That's another thing, is keeping this going so that our grandkids are as interested in us in fighting for our liberties. So I understand where Kingpin was going with that. The average person doesn't understand this stuff. The average person believes everything they hear on the news. They believe everything Joe Biden says on TV, and they skim headlines, pick out keywords, and believe stuff that they see on the movies. And it's unfortunate that we have to dumb ourselves down when we're smarter than that. But that's what we're fighting against.
I agree. Now,
Cross the line, Squid.
where I was going,
Cross the line.
where I was going, do you go? I mean, today Biden done his more stupid gun shit in his speech this afternoon. It's going after the rogue FFL dealers, but where I was going with this, they've actually said they come out, they got the statistics from the FBI and Bloomberg's thing, which where I'm going with this, it made them look stupid. They said the NICS check worked. We stopped 300,000 people last year from buying a gun. Now, if it works, why do they need universal background checks? If it works, they're claiming it works. So why add on universal background checks?
Because they've lied to the public and they've said that criminals buy guns at gun shows. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't purchases made at gun shows that could eventually lead into somebody's hand who is going to commit a crime. But the Bloods and the Crips are not going down to the county fairgrounds with Hillbilly Jim to buy a gat. They're just not. As many states and as many places as I've gone to gun shows at over all the decades, I have never seen. I haven't seen that sort of behavior there. It's a myth that they've created. And if you ask John Q. Public, hey man, when was the last time you went to a gun show? Oh, I've never gone to one. I just hear that you can go there and buy a machine gun and a rocket launcher because Nancy Pelosi said so. Do you see what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying is they keep saying the NICS isn't working. That's why we got to go to universal background checks.
No, they're saying we have to go to universal because of the gun.
It's working.
No, they're saying that because of the gun show loophole. The gun show loophole doesn't exist.
They didn't mention the gun show. They saying the NICS check works. It's black and white. They admitted it today.
Right, but they understand. See, this is. I try to get it's really fun to make fun of Joe Biden. It's really fun to make fun of Nancy Pelosi because they're such easy targets. They are incredibly smarter than any of us put together when it comes to politics. And Joe Biden understands messaging. He doesn't they screw it up all the time, but they got the benefit of being able to lie anytime they want and have everybody in the world, oh, okay, they said so. They know their audience. Look, gun violence, gun crimes, gun deaths. Every idiot in the country says that stuff. No gun has ever killed anyone, ever, never, never, ever, 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 never, never, and never will ever in the history of the future until, the cyborgs start building smart guns. They know that everyone they're talking to is an idiot, and they know that all they have to do is say, all white people are racist, and a whole bunch of people will go, oh crap, I didn't even notice that. Cops are hunting black people. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Guns are, oh my God. They know how to play the public. That's exactly what my point is about the whole background check. The public's idiocy is their buffet table. So Joe Biden can come out and say today, hey, background checks don't work. Then tomorrow he can say background checks do work. And the same idiot that listened to him will be like, oh, okay. Or just, they're sitting there eating dinner with the news playing in the background, not paying attention at all. Don't be surprised that all these people are liars. I just put out the Good Carlin video, and that means everybody, your Second Amendment celebrities, your political celebrities, your TV celebrities, all these people that we lionize fucking hate you.
I'd like to dispute this 350,000 number. They announced that, and reporters probably sit and listen, and nobody asked any questions. Everything I've always heard from the pro Second Amendment side of this NICS check is all of their denials are like 90. Not
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I think I'm having connection problems.
Well, I didn't hear a damn word you just said. You roboted through the whole thing. I don't know, but nobody else is talking, so I don't know whether
I thought it was me because I jumped in and out a couple times, and I was thinking, crap.
It was Rob. That's Rob.
Terrific. But did I hear Jason say something about 350,000? Because I've only caught a little bit of this. So they're saying that the NICS system caught 350,000 people or denied them.
Well, it was 300 or 350,000 people who got denied firearms last year.
Okay, so that's a terrific number for them to tout because, fine. There's 28 million total background checks done last year. Of that 28 million, 350,000 were denied. So that's just over 1%. Big whoop, first off. But how many of those denials were wrongfully denied and then later on overturned?
I'm not disputing any of that. Where I was trying to get across is if you want something to fight, it's a good fight against them trying to pass universal background checks because they've just said it works. As it is right now, it works. So why do we need more?
Universal background checks and NIC background checks are two different things.
Yeah, because what they're saying for universal background checks is no more private sales. I can't.
Pretty much, yep.
Yeah, Squibb can't go to Patriot and be like, hey, here's this gun, give me X amount, see you later. Now they'd have to go to an FFL and get background checks done, all that fun jazz to do their private sale. So what the government's saying with the universal background checks is, yeah, these background checks are working, but there's this loophole that we want to close up. And because these background checks are working, this is how we're supporting needing additional background checks.
Universal background checks won't do anything to deter crime. And with their number that's less than 1%, of which there could be plenty of false denials in there, that didn't do anything to deter crime either. Not really. Bad guys get their guns through straw purchases and theft, particularly theft. So they have to commit a crime in order to commit another crime in order to have the potential to commit another crime. And nobody wants to admit that. That's the 800-pound gorilla in the room or whatever they call it.
Yep.
Can you hear me now, or am I roboting?
You're loud and clear now.
Yeah, I think all of us had a problem because all the little circles in all of our corners turned gray, and then I got kicked out for a second. So I think it was everybody was having an issue.
Okay.
Interesting.
If I could just touch on what I was trying to spit out earlier, this 350,000 number that they bragged about. Everything I've always heard from the pro 2A side of people is saying that 95% of all the denials are overturned by appeal. So if you would go up there, a reporter should have asked them instead of just sitting there listening to them. If you said you denied 350,000 people last year, how many of them got, like Barbecue said, how many of them got appealed? So are you really telling us you infringed on 300,000 people? So, I mean, they're not telling you the whole story. They're playing the politician angle, just like they make up the numbers all the time. Just like we all saw every senator on the Democratic side 2 years ago stand up in their meetings and say, 90,000 people a year die from gun violence. 90% of America supports gun laws. You know what I mean? So when they spout out numbers, we should spout back, prove it.
But that's where, with these numbers they're spouting out, that's how they say that they proved it. Unfortunately, it's up to us to disprove what they're saying is proof. We've got to do the deep dive and go digging and figure out, fine, out of these 300,000, 350,000 denials, how many of them were false, how many were overturned when appealed, and anything, all that fun jazz.
Okay, and a question for you. Why do you want to do that?
Because if you don't fight it, it just empowers them to push for more bullshit.
I got a quick question. With the 350,000, how many of them did they arrest because they tried to purchase the
Bingo!
Which is
if there's no arrest out of that 350,000, they got 6 people in the whole year, then that has no consequence. That number doesn't mean a thing besides screwing with people because,
well, I agree.
Your name looks like somebody else's, or it's a AKA, you get your little credit report and it gives you a list of names that they think you might have used. Or is that just me?
Well, hey, I'm not arguing with any of it. All I'm saying is there's a little tiny bit of ammo there that we can have because they use the words, the background checks work. So when they try to change it to make it more, you can say, well, you just said they worked.
Can you guys hear Rick?
Yeah, but
loud and clear. Yes.
I understand what you're saying, Rick, but they're not saying that they work and we don't need more. They're saying they work and we need more, and they're justifying it, or justifying the need for more by saying that they work in the first place.
They just want to require every sale to go through an FFL.
Yep.
So that there is that background check, because right now not all of them go through there, and they're going to say, no, we want all of them, since it stops all these 350,000 or whatever the number is.
Honestly, I don't even think it's about background checks. Look at what's going on right now with the redefinition of a firearm and receiver. Everything they keep talking about is tracing. They want it for tracing purposes. That way there's always a paper trail.
What I want to know is why they don't make theft of a firearm a crime in itself, and they make it punishable by such a high degree, like, 30 years with no chance of parole or something mandatory. Or they make it where, I'm not saying to deter something, because the bad guys are still going to do it. But if we're going to put these guys away because they're buying stolen guns or they're stealing guns in order to be able to commit a crime with one, if they're caught with it and they're put away for 30 years, they're going to be an old man by the time they get out of jail. I think they're not prosecuting to the fullest extent of the law, and I think they're releasing them early. Another thing is, when some bad guy gets his stupid girlfriend to do a straw purchase for him. Why isn't she going away to jail for decades if he ever gets caught with this gun and they run the trace on it? They use these 4473s. They go back and they go, hey, you didn't buy this. Your girlfriend bought it. And they look over at her and she's there going,
They claim it's too hard to prosecute straw purchases. It's too hard to get the proof that you need in court to actually go through with a prosecution.
I'm calling bullshit on that.
In Maryland, it's a crime not like if Patriot stole my gun and I didn't report it stolen within like 15 days or something like that, it's a crime against me.
Yeah, the other thing is with the straw purchases, if there's a time difference between the time it was purchased by so-and-so and then the crime, if it was 2 months, she might have sold it. They can't really, unless he's a criminal anyways, and then that's something different. But
yeah, look,
there's a time difference in there. Like, didn't somebody just get 3 people because they were, the girlfriend was buying it and giving it to her boyfriend, and he was giving it to, wasn't that last week? Somebody was at a show on that. That was you, Jason. Didn't you do it?
I remember that.
Somebody was talking about the people that were going in. They went to like 27 gun shops in the same town, not same town, but area, buying 300 guns or something. I don't know. I could have been sleeping, but I think somebody was talking about that just last week or something. And they went after all 3 of them because the girl went in to buy them, or they all went in to look at them, and then she came back and bought 5 guns or something, and was doing it everywhere.
See, some states that wouldn't be a thing. Like New York, it probably couldn't be a thing in New York because of all the laws and stuff you got to go through anyway. Not trying to justify it, but for them to say it's a national thing or something they need to address for everybody, that's a bunch of crap anyway, because a lot of states you're already doing that in some cases. So so really there is no loophole in New York at a gun show. Like, every sale goes through an FFL, even if it's private party. That's just how it goes. It doesn't matter if it's long gun, if it's a handgun, New York State, every sale. So this wouldn't even affect
and it's done nothing to
New York State.
It's done nothing to reduce crime, has it?
No, nothing at all. Because like you said, most guns are stolen. Criminals get guns from probably old people and breaking them out of people's cars or when they come across them. I mean, there's a black market for things as well. I had a guy pitching me a sale at AutoZone one time, but it's not a gun store that I'm aware of. So gun stores don't take chances like that. They try to cover their ass. So I don't know. In New York, this wouldn't even be relevant in a sense.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm calling bullshit that nobody said that. No government officials have ever said that it's too difficult to prosecute a straw purchase. I didn't mean it like that. I'm saying it's a bullshit excuse if anybody in law enforcement and the judicial system, the criminal law system, who's supposed to be watching out for us, says, oh yeah, it was just too hard to do. So, I mean, it's like, really? How about all the other things that law-abiding citizens do lawfully that they get prosecuted for? That wasn't too hard to do, was it? They pick and choose. They keep certain things going to push their narrative. But I also don't think it's a conspiracy where you've got 50,000 people or 100,000 people coast to coast in different government agencies all calling each other going, all right, we're going to do this today, right? I'm just saying that maybe it's the party agenda. It's just something about, I'm in government and I have my beliefs, my opinions. I'm part of this political affiliation. What can I do at my job to help push our message instead of doing what I'm paid to do? This is where government accountability, it drives me up a wall that they are not accountable to us, and they should be.
It was 23, by the way, who had that.
There was an article a couple of months ago about a ring of straw purchases in Chicago, and they traced it down to They said a Army base in Kentucky, so that I would assume that's Fort Campbell. But they said they were purchasing the guns at Fort Campbell and selling them in Chicago for $1,500. And get this, they said there was a 30% markup. And I'm like, well, they weren't buying $1,200 guns and marking them up 30%. They were buying Glocks and 500, probably Kel-Tecs or whatever for $200 and $300, right? And selling for $1,500. I just thought the whole 30% markup, and they were getting to $1,500. There's probably a couple of layers. There probably soldiers were buying them, soldier spouses were buying them through our network, and one guy was buying them and then transporting them up. But it's like you said, those are straw purchases. Those are the type of people that should be going to jail because that's when you're filling out that form, that's you.
Well, I think it's funny that people don't think there's gang members in the military. I think it's dumb for anybody to think that. So, I mean,
I actually heard that's
there's criminals everywhere. Doesn't matter what kind of group you're in.
So I actually heard that gang members in the military has become a very big issue as of late.
I don't know. We might want some gang members in the military these days because from what I hear, they're getting nothing but a bunch of pussies. So they might need some real hardcore criminals in there to fight our wars for us. And don't knock it just yet.
Yeah, because soldiers are now wearing high heels and makeup into battle.
And your tax dollars are paying for that.
And that's just a man.
Can't get them body armor and help out their family back home while they're overseas deployed. But we can get them a sex change operation in Kandahar.
Mm-hmm. That's our newest weapons technology, the hybrid.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what can you say? It's we can beat this all to death. It's never going to change. But then again, see why I think that case with the Army down in Kentucky or whatever. It gives them all ammunition to go trying to take our guns away from us. But there's no harm for me buying a firearm. Okay, for argument's sake, if who can I say? Say hypothetically, Jason gives me $500. I buy a firearm and I give it to him. Who's going to know I did that? All I got to say, well, it was a gift for him. Unless they can actually have on film him handing me the physical cash for it. There's no way they can trace it.
Wait a second. Here's where I'm going to need your guys. I'm going to need your guys' experience on this. There is no such thing as a private handgun sale. Anywhere on the planet of America, you have to go through a background check for any handgun sale. It's not black powder, right?
Nope. There are lots of states where you can sell your neighbor, your brother, your coworker, anybody who's not a prohibited person, a handgun with nothing. No paperwork, no concealed carry permit, no nothing. Now, it's not in my state, but like in Ohio, you can. So
yeah,
that's what they point out about the gun show loophole. Like, I think it was Tulsa or something like that. They have FFLs and then private sellers. Private sellers, there's no paperwork. Whether that's I think that's what they're pointing at, but we don't have that here in New York, and I'm sure several other states don't have that as well.
Like here, I swapped my AR-15 22 with my cousin, and he gave me a Winchester 22 lever action.
Long guns.
Yeah, long guns.
But if I went to an FFL dealer, I would still have to fill out a 4473 for a long gun.
Yeah, because he's a professional and he's got to keep records for his business.
Yeah, he's licensed.
No different than getting a receipt for a candy bar.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. I mean, you still have to. I mean, if you buy a long gun in an FFL, you have to fill out 4473, correct?
Yes.
But if I sell it to my cousin, I don't.
Right, because that's a private transaction.
Unless
That's
you
what I
live in
was
Maryland.
saying.
If you live in Maryland, they just passed. I can't sell a gun to the guy who lives upstairs without a background check.
Yeah, well, that's a universal background check they want.
That's basically Maryland has universal background checks now, so you can't sell anything considered a firearm of any kind except for black powder, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Same with
what I'm
New
saying.
York.
But here I can't unless I can buy.
Or gift.
The only where I would get in trouble for doing this is if my cousin was a felon. Right?
Only if you know that. If you know that. If there's no background check, what the legal term is, the legal ease is if you knowingly and willingly sell to somebody who's prohibited. If you don't know and you're not willingly understanding that that person's a felon, then there's no problem.
But I'm going back to the straw purchase. A straw purchase is you give me the money, I go buy it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and if you know that I'm a criminal, you're committing a crime.
Yes, but if you're my cousin and I know you're not a criminal, right? Unless they actually physically see you give me the money, there's no way they can even trace it.
Well, if you don't have background checks on long gun sales, if you have private long gun sales or like Scuba's saying, private handgun sales, you can stand in the store and I can hand you the money directly and say, I want that one. And then you can buy it all you want as long as the FFL will sell it to you.
No, that's still a straw purchase.
That's a straw purchase.
So I don't say anything and he just gifts it to me. My point is you have to prove the intent then, because all Rick would have to say is I bought this gun for him and I gifted it to him.
And the only way they can say I didn't is if they actually physically see you hand me the money.
Yeah, I might
not necessarily. No. Talking to roll call, this is what he said. He watches a guy come in with his girlfriend. The guy is there. And she's looking around. She looks confused. She looks clueless. He kind of nudges her this way. She kind of points at one of them. He nudges her a little bit more. She points another one. He nods. And he knows right away it's a straw purchase, and he'll deny it right there. And that's a good FFL. That's an FFL doing their due diligence. They're not licensed therapists, okay? They don't have precognition or anything else like that. But that's just some common sense. Or if you got one person picking it out and then the other person pulling the money out, the only time you're probably going to get away with that is if it's your spouse. If you both pull out your driver's license, you both have the same last name and the same home address and all this other stuff, then you could say it's a gift. My wife has bought me a gun before. She paid for it with her credit card, everything, but I filled out the 4473. And it was not a problem because she was my wife. And the guy said, if it wasn't your wife, I wouldn't let somebody else do this. And it's up to that FFL to judge what's a straw purchase. Some gun stores are owned by big companies like Bass Pro Shop or something like that, and they may have a strict policy, like the crap that Jason got from Rural King, right? It's a company rule. It's not a federal law. They just go above and beyond. That's their choice because it's their company. They can do what they want. But it's up to, if you're an FFL and you want to risk losing your license or being prosecuted by the federal government, go ahead. Blatantly see a straw purchase and allow it. Go ahead. See what happens. Do you really want to take that risk? I wouldn't if I was an FFL. So if you're going to do a straw purchase and you want to get away with it, you're going to have to send somebody to the store who knows what they're doing, knows what they're looking at. And you're going to have to do everything, not in the parking lot, not in the store, not in the alley behind it, but off-site at a private residence. That would be much more difficult to prove. Like Patriot was saying, a couple months later, she could claim that she sold the gun if there's no background check in that state or some other thing like that. But some of it is like
shop here, and a guy went in with his son, right? So it's a father's son. The son was looking at the rifles, and this was a long gun, and the dad was, giving him pointers, whatever, on what to get. Right. And knowing full well that they actually had the same name. I guess the kid was a junior, and the dad pulled out his credit card and they wouldn't allow that sale. And
that's that business's choice.
Yeah. That's the one I don't care for. But they said, well, you can't pay for his gun. And it's like, it's his kid. The kid was, under, I don't know how old he was. Obviously I didn't see him.
Yeah, that's pretty
and that's up to the gun shop, and that's fine. That's not a problem because you don't want to risk your livelihood, everybody that works for you, and your shop and everything in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. That's down to the business, but legally, the guy could have done that.
Well, you know,
I've had that same experience, and they did sell it to us. So, and the fact, I think my kid, he was even handing me some money, but I made it very clear that it's, you know, it's my firearm. I'm purchasing it for his use, so I'm securing it. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And they didn't give me any crap. So, yeah, we filled everything out, and it went through fine.
Yeah, years ago when I worked at Dunham's, the big retailers like that, they're constantly training their employees that are going to be at the firearms counter how to detect straw purchases. And I actually had one the one time, actually similar to the scenario that Squib had given out. I had just gotten on shift, and lady walks up. Can I help you with anything? She's like, oh, just kind of looking. And again, she doesn't look like she has anything in particular that she's really wanting. She looks a little confused, and eventually a guy walks up next to her, and that's nothing out of the ordinary. You know, somebody's looking at guns, their spouse walks up, no big deal. Except, you know, I kind of see her look at him, and he gives this little nod, and I take the firearm out of the case, let him look at it, all that fun jazz, and she looks at him again, he gives a nod, she's like, yeah, we'll take it. And I was like, okay. And she goes and gives me her ID and everything. I was like, that is fine and dandy if you folks want to get this. I was like, but if this is going to be purchased today, he needs to do the paperwork. And holy shit, they about exploded. I told him, I was like, with everything that I've seen, I believe this is a straw purchase, and that the firearm is not for her. It's for the gentleman with her. And my manager was pissed at me afterwards. It's like, it's just the 22. I was like, I don't fucking care. It's my name going on the 4473 next to theirs. I was like, I'm not fucking doing it. And then the next day, the guy that I had relieved, I was talking to him about it. He's like, did they look like this? I was like, yep. He's like, yeah, they were in on my shift, and they seemed a little shady. I was like, yeah, you should probably, you know, communicate that. Then the store manager caught wind, and she's like, great job. Yeah, I didn't like having to say, hey, you're not getting this one today. Sorry. But at the same time, if they would have done something wrong with it, again, that's my name on that 4473 next to theirs. And like, even at Dunham's, we would have people come in and say, hey, you know, I'm purchasing, or I want to purchase this gun for a family member. You know, how do I go about that? And we would just tell them, that's fine. You're allowed to pay for it, all that fun jazz. But the person that's going to be the actual owner at the end of the day, they need to come in and do the paperwork.
Not unless they give it to them as a gift.
But if they're actually purchasing it
Depends on your state laws.
as a gift, the person that they're purchasing it for has to do the paperwork, because now they're not the actual. They're the purchaser, but they're not the transferee in that sense. So it's still
Rick, when my wife bought me my birthday present, she bought me a 22. It was years ago. We're at the gun store. She paid for it with her credit card. Her name's on the credit card. She had to show her ID with the credit card to prove that it's hers. She did all the. I filled out the 4473. It was my gift. So
okay, I understand what you're saying, but if your wife went in that store, bought the 22, filled out the paperwork, used her card, filled out the 4473, got home and go, here you go, Squib, I bought this for you. It's a gift. They're allowed to do that.
It's yes. However,
Depending on your state laws.
I think Rob's got that on a loop.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, I just want to point out, because everybody states it like it's a fact, and it may be a fact in your state, but not across the board, and that's probably confusing people.
It's only less than a handful of states this can't happen in, but the majority of states it can happen.
Right, but what I'm saying though is the FFL is doing their due diligence by saying the end user, the person that is getting this as a gift needs to fill out the paperwork. Or if you're there with them, they need to fill out the if you can't pass the 4473, we're not making this transaction. We don't need this money as bad as we need to keep our license. Okay? And if you're pissed off about that, then don't come in there like a dumbass and not know anything about guns and buy the wrong gun. It's just like when you go to the if you buy ammo at some stores, they might tell you, you can't return this, right? Why? Because people who don't know the first fucking thing about guns go and buy their friend who's into guns ammo, and they don't know the difference between a 22 and a 12 gauge, and they give them the wrong ammo, and then they want to take it back and return it, and they don't understand why, and they lose their shit when they can't return it. You buy me the wrong caliber, you hand me a box of ammo that I don't have, I might end up just going buying the gun to fit it. Just saying.
Yep. But that's a great point, Squid. I remember. Let smoke out, please. I remember earlier this year. I was at, or I shouldn't say this year, last year, shortly after COVID happened, I was at the LGS, and they're getting swamped because everybody's panic buying and everything else. And this guy comes up and he's like, "Hi, I need 380 ammo." And the shop owner turns around and gets a box of 380 and hands it to him. And the guy kind of looks at him puzzled, and he's like, "This isn't right." And Mike was like, "Yeah, it's 380 ACP, exactly what you asked for." He's like, "No." He's like, "The ones I'm thinking of are a lot longer." And I just happened to be at the counter, and Mike looks at me, and I look at Mike, and I was like, "Do you think he's talking about 308?" And the guy's like, "What?" And Mike's like, so he goes and grabs a box of 308. He's like, "Yeah, those." And this guy was obviously one of those ones that was new to the firearms world. That we picked up last year, which, hey, I'm not faulting the guy in any way. He took an interest in his Second Amendment rights. Awesome. But, he thought he had a 380. No, he bought a 308.
I got a question about the straw purchase thing. If you come up into a store and you're behind the counter, and a male and female walk in, and the guy's telling her, "No, you want this, you want that." If he's a jerk spouse that's telling his wife which one to get, right, and she's going to fill out the paperwork, whatever, is that something that could be misconstrued as a straw purchase? Not legally, of course. It's for her, but she doesn't know anything. She looks clueless, like the people you were talking about earlier, but they could get turned away, though, right?
They could, but honestly, with the amount of videos that I had to sit through when I got the job at Dunham's, they really hammer home the scenarios. And hey, get smoke, please.
He's getting attacked.
Yeah.
It's got to be possible, Patriot.
Yeah,
they probably have classes or something, but still, you never know, and people's relationships are different, how couples talk to each other, react to each other, so it's got to be a possible thing.
I would say, and what I was going to say is, you see so many different things, you kind of pick up on, okay, this isn't natural. This guy's just a dickhead, and he's being a dickhead to his wife, and that's unfortunate, but you realize the difference between a straw purchase and somebody who is getting their wife into a firearm for the first time, and he's just a dickhead know-it-all that doesn't want to give her any good advice. It's just what he believes.
Yeah, that's more like the way it is. Anyway, guys, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, I was going to give you my story.
Go for it.
About a year ago, as good a customer as I am with my gun store, he refused to sell me a gun. I went in there with a friend of mine. I was looking at a pistol, and I was sitting there holding it, and I started shaking my head. And the old man who knows me the best there, Steve, reached across and ripped that gun out of my hand, and he said, "Due to you being a repeat customer and out of good taste, I refuse to sell you this Glock."
Good boy. Good boy.
Good man.
Good man. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm going to wind this up, guys. It's 8:15.
So
You could have
I'm
cruised all night,
82.
Rick, man. Fantastic. Hats off to everybody. Squib had to drop out, but fantastic conversation tonight, fellas.
Yep. Yep. I appreciate it, guys. And real quick, for my quiz for next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, real easy one. I want to know the Slim Pickens. I want to know what his real name is, and also I want to know how. I mean, the most popular belief how he got the name of Slim Pickens. That's all I want to know. Email me at rickslife as I see it at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get it into me by noon next Saturday. So, all right. Before we let's go through the room real quick. Patriot, you got any shout outs or plugs? Patriot?
Hey, I found that mute button, right?
Yeah.
At least it's working this week, and I'm not just rattling on, messing with Rob. Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Good show. And, yeah, I ain't got nothing.
All right. Well and well armed.
Hold on.
All right. I'll move on to Guns and Barbecue. You got anything?
Sorry, thought I hit the mute button, but I didn't. No, nothing in particular. Thanks for having me tonight, Rick. Appreciate it.
No problem. Go back to Will and Well Armed. You ready yet?
I'm ready. Just want to thank everybody. I hit my 1,000 subscribers. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock is the lottery giveaway. So tonight is the last night to get your entry in. You got to follow and send a email to wield1000@gmail.com. And so tonight's the last for the name to be in. And we'll do the drawing tomorrow at 8. After the call, I need to ask somebody how you do the recording, because I did a live recording last night and it didn't post afterward.
All right. All right. Jason, anything?
Oh, always, as always, it's great to see everybody. Great to see everybody in the chat. I appreciate the invite, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share my situation with you. And it has been a real good show, and just glad to see everybody, and take care of the rest of the week.
All right. New York Outcast.
I got nothing today. Thanks for having me, everybody. Yeah, thanks for sticking around, dealing with these guys, driving me crazy, especially Patriot here. But everybody have a salad and enjoy your evening.
Yes, and don't forget to stop by rndldisplays.com to look at those fantastic gun displays they have. Like the one hanging on my wall. That's the wall unit that comes with it. It makes it look like it's just suspended in space. My AR-15 behind me on the wall. Use Rick's Life and get a 15% discount. There you go. Moving on. Who's next there? Kingpin. You got anything?
Good times. Thanks for letting me be a part of it, and everybody have a great night.
All right. Then the lovable Squib. Any shout outs or plugs?
Yeah, I think Roll Call is going to do rants and raves on Night Strike's channel tonight because he's had some computer issues. Hopefully they don't have the same sort of crappy gun tube chamber connectivity issues we've had during this show. With the exception of that, I really like the show today. I like more shows like this. At least this we get stuff out in the forefront, and whether we're debating over it or we're running hypotheticals or we're just talking about the different situations, different places, we're getting good information out there. We're getting people to think, even if it's just us. So thanks for the invite, and I don't know, do some more shilling, Rick.
I will do. Thanks. All right, everybody. I want to say thanks for being here. I really do appreciate it. and I will be back on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters. So I will see you all then. So good night, everybody.
Good night, Sabrina.